The Kingdom of Uganda, located in the modern state of Uganda, on the shores of Lake Victoria in the heart of Africa, found itself thrown right into the eyes of the storm. Kabaka Mutesa I, the 19th century king of Uganda, played a critical role in the history of Uganda. Over much of his reign, Uganda was stable and growing in prosperity as a result of trade, mainly with the Arabs, who came in from the Indian Ocean in the east. Soon the Europeans, the French and the British followed the Arab trail into the heartland of Africa and Uganda. A fierce competition of influence and ultimately for control over the riches of the land, its trade in ivory, hides and above all the fertility of the rich red soils ensured among the new foreigners. Watching it, Mutesa realized with horror the kingdom's relative position of weakness in the face of the machine gun which the foreigners had and he did not. Mutesa understood and feared conquest. He himself had conflicted it on others less than fortune. To forestall it, he resorted to diplomacy and skillfully played off the British, the French and the Arabs against one another. But for how long could this go on? Mutesa soon died and not entirely satisfied with the new state of affairs in his kingdom. His volatile son Mwanga I took over the affairs of the kingdom. Mwanga, who hated the growing influence of the British, the Arabs and French in the kingdom, quickly brought matters to a head as he forcefully exerted his authority and cut down the influences of the foreigners and their new religions that were eroding the absolute powers of the king. Following a civil inspired by the foreign interest contending for power in Uganda, the British seized the upper hand and took control of the kingdom, disposed the young king and replaced him with his 4-year-old son Daudi Chwa. From this point on, Uganda ceased to exist as an independent entity. It was brilliant star deemed. It is this state of affair in the kingdom that the present king of Uganda, the Cambridge-educated Kabaka Mutesa II, has inherited, and he has struggled with all his energies to change his days as a journalist in London during the early 1980s. His later father, King Mutesa I II, had died in exile in London in 1969 when Mutebi was just a boy. In 1986, following a change of government in Kampala, Mutebi returned from exile to Uganda to a kingdom that officially no longer existed. In a chaotic city that had just witnessed the war, this portrayed the love the king had towards his people. On his return, as he stepped on the tarmac that cloud-cast morning of November 1986 at Entebbe Airport, at the age of 31, Prince Ronald Edward Frederick Chimera Muwenda Mutebi, to give his full name, had his work cut out for him. It was nothing short of the restoration of his once proud and ancient kingdom to its former glories, with the overwhelming support of the people of Uganda and the goodwill of the rest of Uganda, of which Uganda is part. His struggle eventually bore fruits and in 1993, Buganda was restored as a kingdom within the Republic of Uganda. Mutebi was crowned in a colorful ceremony held deeply in the woods of Wuddo Hill near Kampala, where kings of Uganda are traditionally crowned. 3 weeks ago in Kampala, at the vast green grounds of the Luwili Palace, once raided by Idi Amin on the orders of Milton Obote in a quarrel between Buganda and Ugandan government, Mutebi and the people of Uganda celebrated the 20th anniversary of the restoration. In his speech, Mutebi made plain that the struggle for the restoration of the Kingdom of Uganda had only just begun. Its ultimate aim is to see the re-establishment of the kingdom as an autonomous federal state with Uganda, with the Kabaka as its constitutional head. On the 27th of August 1999, Kabaka Ronald Muwenda Mutebi officially got married to Sylvia Najinda from Omsukland and a daughter of John Mulumba Luswata and Rebecca Nachintu Musoko of Nkumba Chadondo. This was a great achievement in the kingdom's history. Introducing Nabagaleka to the subjects opened hope among the Baganda for the growth and expansion of the kingdom. The real wedding was held at St. Paul's Cathedral, Namilembe, in Kampala on Friday, 27th August 1999. Since the restoration of the Ugandan kingdoms, the Kabaka's position is as Sabataka and as the cultural leader of the 7.5 million Baganda, both in Uganda and diaspora. Most of the Kabaka's time and effort since his crown have been directed at restoring Uganda's institution, customs, culture, practices and behaviors. He has played a leading role in inspiring the confidence of his subjects not to abandon the practices that have made the kingdom endure over the last 800 years. Although constitutionally barred from participating in Ugandan politics, the Kabaka has been at the forefront in reminding the central government to live up to the letter of the law and not trample on the constitutionally granted rights of the Buganda to own land, travel and trade with their neighbors, with foreigners, to express their political views openly, without duress or undue influence, and to their religious faith as they choose. Contentious issues with the central government remain primarily in three areas: the return of the kingdom assets seized by the central government in 1967, harmonizing of the land tenure system in the whole of Uganda. Currently, Buganda has different land ownership mechanisms that are missing in other areas of the country where land is communally owned. The creation of a federal system of government for Uganda. The majority of the Buganda support federal, while many of the small ethnics fear that with federal, Buganda will unfairly advance economically, leaving the rest of the country behind. On Friday, 15th April 2001, His Majesty Ronald Edward Fred Chimera Mwenda Mutebi II was installed as the first Chancellor of Mutesa I Royal University. The university was founded in 2007 and named in memory of Mutesa I of Uganda in recognition of his foresight in promoting education in Uganda and his superior diplomatic skills in juggling the influences of the British, the French and the Arabs in the late 1880s. The Kabaka has 5 children, namely Prince Junju Suna, Richard Semakokilo, and Princesses Joan Nosolo, Victoria Kings, and Katrina Sangalyambogo.